Good morning, everybody. This is Grant, and you're watching the State of the Spark show. It is a lovely, lovely Monday, and you know we wrapped up last week a long little series about MSPBA. We're not going to circle back to that. We're getting back to, as I promised, a little bit of regularly scheduled programming. If you can't tell, I be loving these decorations. Hello, they're gorgeous over here. I love the neon. I'm reading an actual book. Let's get into gratitude. So actually, you guys know we've got other news this morning. Exciting, fun, interesting. Other news. I'm even going to bring you a new word that I discovered. It's not often that I discover new words, my friends, but I've got a new word I discovered, and I am sharing it with you today. We're also going to talk about space things, as we so often do. Sorry, I splashed myself with this wonderful coffee. We're going to talk about space things. We're going to talk about the eruption going on in Hawaii. But before anything, we're going to talk about gratitude. So one thing I am absolutely grateful for, I'm grateful for two things. And if you're watching the show today, I welcome you. I ask you to please put your comments below about what you are massively, massively grateful for. You just need to take a pause. You need to take a knee. You need to ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? I'm grateful for these two things. Number one, I'm grateful for my lovely friend, Eli Benny. Shout out to Eli Hedstrom, who got me the book, Neuromancer. Fantastic book that I'm reading. That's basically cyberpunk from the early 80s by what I guess is the precursor to a lot of cyberpunk including Shadowrun, cyberpunk including Johnny Mnemonic. It precedes all of that. Pretty cool book. Loving it. I'm grateful for that today. I'm also grateful for the holidays. I'm so grateful for the holidays for one major reason, my friend. And the big reason that I'm grateful is in a natural, organic time for us to pause, breathe, and if you need a restart, it's a perfect time for a restart. If you need a finish line to push harder, some of you guys are like, I just need a rest. I'm telling you, yesterday, I fell asleep on the couch like 3 times. Some days I just need a rest. But many of us want to end well. We want to end strong. We want to symbolically give it our all. The holidays are also a way to have a finish line to transition into the new year. So I'm so grateful that we have the holidays for this organic restart where we're all restarting. We're all rewriting our goals. We're all starting fresh. Or a finish line that you might need, something, a goal, a benchmark to just leap for as you wrap up the year and give yourself a really powerful year. If you flubbed most of the year, I really encourage you to circle back and end strong. Thanks for the like so much. I appreciate it. So here's what we're talking about today. We're talking about other news that has nothing to do with COVID, hopefully. News that's not political, hopefully, unless space is political to you, which it can be. And hopefully news about words. A new word that I learned today that has a meaning regarding goals. You see, we're going to be talking about goals going into the new year. This is coach's time. Any coach or personal development speaker or trainer, anyone who's written a book about personal development, I think they love the holidays in general because everyone has psychological leverage to actually making changes in their life. And that's what we're here to do. Let's talk about the Great Conjunction Christmas star. Here we go. If you don't know by now, you're hiding under a rock, that Saturn and Jupiter have what's known as a conjunction. That means that in our sky, when we look, they're so close visually that they make kind of a big old star. You can see the Great Conjunction. Now, mind you, you really should do this. Why? Why, Grant? Why should I go out and see the Great Conjunction? For several reasons. Number one, it is December 21st. For my pagan friends, what is December 21st? And for my science friends, what is December 21st? Come on, it's the winter solstice, my friends, the longest night of the year when we start now angling and removing back to longer days. So you should have first and foremost just enjoy the winter solstice, December 21st, and enjoy that, right? But in enjoying it, you can go out after, I think, roughly 4 p.m. or right around sunset. And you can look in the southwestern sky and see the Great Conjunction. Now, technically, the Great Conjunction happens every 20 years. But typically, it's way too close to the sun for us to see. It doesn't line up in the night sky or the evening sky for us to see. The closest pairing that has happened like this was 1623. But too close to the sun at the time. So the closest time when this was visible around the world was actually 1226, or roughly when Genghis Khan was conquering Asia. And listen, tell me if his soothsayers weren't sitting around cutting up the entrails of animals and prophesying that it was the time for him to take over the known world because of the Great Conjunction. Tell me that didn't happen. I don't believe it. I do believe it's a good omen for us. Why? 2 reasons. Number one, I'm always looking for good omens, and so should you. You should always be looking for signs that you're going the right direction. Grant, what if I'm just making it up? You probably are, and that's okay. It's okay to see meaning, especially the meaning you need psychologically to lift you up. It's okay to see that meaning in things. Read your tea leaves, my friends. Watch for omens in the sky. Marissa was watching a hawk out of the window the other day. Whatever you got to do to lift yourself up. So it's a good omen. I believe the Great Conjunction is a good omen. We should give ourselves the freedom to use that as psychological leverage, to use it as a sign to tell us that we can actually give ourselves grace to move on to a new season of life. That's what I think. That's just my 2 cents. Let's move on with other news. What's going on in Hawaii? Well, as much as I'd like my own business to be going on in Hawaii, by that I mean setting up shop and surfing every darn day, what is going on in Hawaii is that there is a small but real eruption happening. Now, you're going to have to forgive me, Native Hawaiians. I'm going to try to say this right. Hale meu mau. I'm so sorry. Hale meu meu. I'm trying to say that right. I'm trying to pay homage. I even looked it up, and then I didn't leave the window open. So please forgive me. I'm sure I'm butchering it. But the Hale meu meu crater is erupting, and scientists are watching it closely. It's located on the Big Island of Hawaii, which, as we know, has had significant lava flows in the past. Currently, it's only smoke and ashfall, and some locals are reporting that there's some weak to light shaking, earthquakes and whatnot. But for those who are planning on traveling, yes, you've got to sit in your hotel, I think, for 14 days and get COVID clear. But now you also have to navigate some earthquake and shaking and smoke and ash from the crater. I won't try to say it again and butcher that. It's too early for me to butcher words, my friends. It's way too early for me to butcher words. Let's also land on one word that I will not butcher. This one word is a word I found which basically means, well, the word itself basically means when attached to the word goals, it means goals that are greater than yourself. Goals that if you achieve, they would affect someone greater than yourself. And it is the antonym of subordinate. It's superordinate. So the word superordinate in general refers to that if you have a hierarchy of systems, subordinate things are things that are below, and superordinate are things that are higher. As it comes to goals, fun fact of the day, a superordinate goal is a goal that if you achieved it, or if you and your team achieved it, it would improve the lives of people greater than yourselves. Whoa. Now, we just call these big goals, big, hairy, audacious, noble goals. We call them life achievements or making your impact in the world. But didn't know it, there's actually a word for this called superordinate goals. You got to hear that. You heard it here first. So hopefully you have at least one, if not a few, superordinate goals. Now, again, many of you will say, I'm just going to make sure my kids have a good life. And that's a good goal. And I assume if you're a parent and that's not your goal, you're a bad parent. Like, what are you doing with your life if that's not your goal? Obviously, that's your goal. And obviously, your children will make a massive impact in the world. Good morning, Derek Oxford. I see you out there, my man. Hope you're doing fantastic. I might see him at coffee a little bit later. So we know that if you're a parent, you should have superordinate goals that your kids have a good life. But I challenge you, as your kids move through their teens and beyond, Do not lose the fire in your belly to be setting superordinate goals, goals that if you achieve, they would impact many more people's lives than your own. They improve the system more than your own. Please, I'd love to hear them in the comments. If you have superordinate goals other than your children, which you should have them, I'm not dogging those. I just believe you should have goals outside and beyond that. Your goals should be so big, it consumes a good life for your child and goes far beyond that. So what are your big, hairy, audacious, noble goals? What are your superordinate goals that you should be setting? I want to hear them in the comments. I'll post a few of my own. And listen, if you're scratching your head like, what are these goals? Stick around for the show as we get in through this year and get into the new year, because I will be sharing how to set big goals, the paradigms you need to get over. Some of you have paradigms you need to get over because you're ho-hum, and that those paradigms are preventing you from actually achieving bigger goals and setting bigger goals. So I really recommend that you need to get out there and shift some paradigms. We're going to be tackling some of this stuff as we get closer to the new year, because so many more of you need to be activated for this mission. Now, I've got my mission, and I call it Igniting Lives of Explosive Significance. You have your own version of this, and you can adopt mine. If you're not sure what yours is, that's fine. But the mission is impacting a massive amount of people for really good stuff. Like what? Some of you are focused on health. Some of you are focused on goals. Some of you are focused on science and tech. I want to hear what your big, hairy, audacious, noble, superordinate goals are. You heard the term here first, my lovelies. Superordinate goals. Let's move on to the 5 things you absolutely need to hear. Here we go. So here's the deal. This is my small micro lesson today. This is going to be done before 7 a.m. This is going to be done. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm trying to make sure you get off to work and get off to work right and have a great week. A lot of you have a holiday week, which I'm grateful for. You should be grateful for. You might work Monday, maybe Tuesday. I know Derek Oxford, if he's even watching, I know he told me the other day over coffee that he's going to show up at the office, but they don't expect too many stock orders, too many financial shifts. So this week they're going to be like there. And Ron was saying this too at coffee. We're going to be there, but like, are we really working? What's really going on? And I know our team is just doing Monday and Tuesday, and we'll be off the rest of the week. Thankfully, awesome team. But here we go. As I've dealt with people setting goals and taking the next level as it pertains to goals, one thing I found is people get in their way and they struggle to write their goals down. They struggle to take the time to actually sketch out what their goals are. Or if they do, it's half-assed. How many of you set goals and you're really half-assed about it? You only set goals because Uncle Grant told you to set goals. They really set goals because Uncle Grant was like, hey man, goals are awesome and they'll help you travel the world and do awesome things. And some of you are like, oh, I'm going to half-ass my goals, my man. Let me tell you something. Before we get into setting goals, before we do a few of these shows to prep your hearts and prep your mind for taking the next level, not just in goals, because it's not about the goal. Too often people say, I wrote goals, I have goals, I think about my goals. Really, we got to achieve some bigger things. We got to achieve some bigger ish out there. The world needs us to do bigger things. You know, I think I've even heard the quote, don't go out and find what the world needs. Instead, go out and find what makes you alive, because what the world needs is people who are alive. Sometimes your goals might be selfish to make you come alive. But there's some paradigms that I think you don't hear often enough. I know that I am speaking to myself. I'm an extrovert, and words of affirmation mean so much to me. I've got to hear some things, and I dare say there's probably a lot of you today who need to hear some really important words. Can I just speak over you a little bit? Is it okay? Can you hit the like button or hit comments and tell me, or share this with a friend who needs to hear a few positive things? Derek says, yes, taking the time to goal set. And Derek, I'm actually going to cover my annual ritual in the next few shows, and here in the Goals and Gratitude group on my annual ritual for the goal setting. But I think not just over you, Derek, but over anyone who watches this later or throughout the day, I think I need to speak some things over you that you do need to hear, because you do not want to set goals in a poor mindset. You do not want to set goals with a bad, poor, lame mindset. So let me speak some things over you to help maybe shift gears as we shift into the holidays. If I may, let me speak 5 things over you. Number 1, you got to hear me on this. Your vision for your highest self is good and special and has a purpose in the world. Listen, if you need to bookmark the show today, and come back and just replay Grant's voice, Uncle Grant's going to speak some things over you. Number 1, your vision for your highest self is special and good and has a purpose in this world. That just feels good to say. Does it feel good to hear? I hope so. Number two, you can accomplish it. You can crush it, and you can build your highest life. Let me say that again. You can accomplish your goals. You can crush it, and you can build your highest life. Number 3, hear me on this. Hear my deepest heart on this. You do not have to be liked by everyone. It's okay. You're going to attract people for a season or a reason, and then you're going to repel one another for a season and a reason. And we need to normalize in our culture shaking hands and say, I think it's time we part ways, hug each other, high five, and go look for that next level. Number 3, you don't have to be liked by everyone. Number 4, if I may, act now. Take action today. Even just a symbolic action. If that's just writing it down, if that's getting it on your dry erase board, if that's calling up someone you need to speak to and talk with them and encourage them or correct them or have them correct you, if you need to go appeal to someone, now is the time. And I'm telling you, my number 4 thing I just need to speak over you today is act now. Your soul will be happier. If the end of the tunnel has been too far off and too far away, if you take action today, that light at the end of the tunnel will come closer to you. You'll be encouraged. Let me just encourage you. Number 4, something I just got to say to you out of love as you prepare your heart and your mind for your goals. Act now. Act today. Book that airline ticket. Put that trip on the calendar. Get your spouse involved and show them, hey, we're putting this on the calendar. We're going to do these things together, my love. Act now and act in love. And number 5, here we go. Prep yourself for this. Stop thinking you can't be happy until you achieve your goals. I'm big on goals. You know I'm big on goals. I'm bigger on you stop thinking that you can't be happy until you have your goals. These are different things. Your happiness should not be anchored to your goal. Yeah, you might have some more joy. Yes, you might be experiencing like extreme awesomeness as your goals happen, but you need to unanchor your goals from achievement or your happiness. You need to unanchor your happiness from your achievement. Let me hit these 5 things very quickly. Number 1, your vision for your highest self is good and special and has a purpose in this world. Let me affirm that in you. And I want you to feel that as you prep your mind for writing goals. Number 2, you need to hear this. Someone needs to say this over you 100 times a day. You can accomplish your goals and crush them and build your highest life. You can do this. This is going to happen. You need to hear that today. Number 3, something you just need to hear from Uncle Grant. You don't have to be liked by everyone. People are there for a season or a reason, and we need to normalize high-fiving each other and move on. Number 4, please, for the love of all that's holy, act now. Act today. Book the flight. Put it on the calendar. Have that difficult conversation. Have that loving conversation. Needs to happen today. And number 5, stop thinking you can't be happy until you achieve big things. You're going to achieve big things. You don't need to hate your life in order to accomplish big things. And you don't need to put off being happy Love the one you're with, man. And you'll love the next thing even more. Listen, those are the 5 things I think you need to hear. I spent time with that this morning thinking, what do my people, what do my friends, what does my community need to hear out there in order to prep the soil of their mind and their hearts to manifest big things in 2021, to calm yourself and just welcome the holidays? Can you actually power down for the holidays? My brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my nephew's coming into town, Ben. I'm super pumped. I'm pumping myself up. I'm super excited because I'm going to unplug and I'm going to write some goals and I'm going to bring some energy to this. Can you be present for these things? Can you set the space of time aside to tell yourself and to hear from me? Your vision of your highest self is good and has a purpose in the world. You can accomplish it and crush it and build your highest life. You can do this thing. You don't have to be liked by everyone. Act today, please. There's goodness in the world that needs to be created, and it's on you and me to create it. So act today. Take a symbolic action or a big one. Doesn't matter. Make it happen today. Number 5, stop thinking you can't be happy until then. Listen, I'm going to act right now. I'm going to go spend coffee with my love and see if we can't become closer, more intimate, more clear, more loving with each other. That's why I hop off this show every single day, because I got someone to love on. I encourage you, find someone to love on and go make it a killer day. Listen, if you need help with anything, visit us at stateofthespark.com, or please, visit us at the Goals and Gratitude group and just let me know what's on your heart. Let me know the challenges. Let me know the big goals you're setting. Let me know what you're getting into. Let me know what you're grateful for today. Let others know. Man, let your freak flag fly in the Goals and Gratitude group. Come on down. And if you need anything at all, you know who we are. State of the Spark. Boop. State of the Spark. Visit us. Reach out to a Spark citizen and say, hey, how can I take my next level? Reach out to us. Visit us at the Goals and Gratitude group. I love you guys. Have a phenomenal Monday. Send this video to someone who needs to hear the 5 things they need to hear to prep their heart for goal setting. And you have an extraordinary day. And don't forget the mission. Igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have an amazing